Manic, pertaining to or affected by excessive excitement or enthusiasm, craze.
This is Manic Mindset. It's time for another Manic episode with Haley and Lynn. Join us each week as we dive down the rabbit hole of navigating life while being hyper-focused on success. Our manic moments are where some of our best ideas come from. We not only embrace the chaos, we thrive in it.
This week, we are going to talk about the participation award.
Yeah, participation trophies. They are gonna be the death of me.
I was gonna say, how do you feel about that? Especially right now, because I feel like your kids are in that,
They're in
that
the
age.
depths of hell.
They really are, because that really didn't start when I was a kid, and it started a little bit when my kids were, in like T-ball and stuff, and then now it's like it's running rampant around here.
Well, I'm torn on it because especially like, first off, you can take that kind of theory and idea and apply it to so many aspects of life. But when it comes to the kids specifically, I'm the first one, like, don't be your kid's first bully. I hate that shit. Like, don't be their first bully. Support them. It's great that they they love it. I'm a big believer in like, who cares if you win or lost as long as you had fun? That's great. Because you're 5,
right,
10, and 8. Like, okay. Now, if you're in like 6th, 7th, 8th grade and you had fun, but you didn't do dick, you just sat on the sideline, or you had poor sportsmanship, or you drop your microphone on your podcast. But, if you're in like middle school or you're an adult and maybe you won the game or maybe you lost the game, whatever, you had fun, but did you try? Did you get off the bench? Like, did so many people make the team you didn't even get a chance to play?
Well, that's a crucial point in life, too, when you start transitioning your kids from being like small children and, yay, this is fun, to this should still be fun, but it should be fun in a different competitive way for you. Mm-hmm. And you are instilling those, big things in their life about putting in the effort, putting in the work, showing up when other people aren't showing up, staying late when people, clock out early, which I mean like putting in extra effort for if you like to play basketball, you're not just going to show up for practice and expect to be the best.
Yeah.
You got to put in the other side, you have to work out in the morning, then go to practice. You got to eat well in between. You got to rest your body. You got to take care of it. So there's a lot more that goes into it, starting when you start phasing into that age. And I truly believe, and I try to do really good about this, I truly believe that when you are starting to transition, you are making or breaking the future of your child. Mm-hmm. And it's not like, I struggle with this a little bit because I don't want to be too hard on my kids either, right? I want them to be successful, but I also want them to be driven. And I can't have the drive for you. I can give you the tools to be successful, but if you don't have the drive, it means nothing.
Well, that helps wean out too. Like, maybe, you wanted your kid to play basketball. They start playing it at 5. And, at that age, they don't know what they want. They know what they like. Like, my kids are just now phasing into the point where like, okay, I like this. I'm going to stick with it. We've kind of dabbled in all the things. But like, maybe you put Raiden in basketball and you were pushing it, and it's not his thing, right?
Right.
He hits an age where he's like, hey, I don't want to do it. It doesn't bring me joy. I'm not going to do effort, this or that. It's not for me.
So he did that with baseball, actually. And it was a little bit of a struggle at first, but then it was just like sad because he was really good at baseball. And it was like, oh, well, and he's just like, it's not the same when we moved here. He's like, it's not the same. I'm not playing with my friends. And that's what made me happy. And I was like, okay, that's fine. But let me be clear. You're not going to not do anything.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to play a sport, you got to have a job. And if you're not going to have, a job, you have to be working towards something. Like you have to do something with your life. Which he did. He plays basketball and he absolutely loves it.
He made his new normal.
And he made that his new normal. But it does translate into what you will look like in the future for your job. Are you a leader? Are you a follower? Do you put in all the effort to get that raise? Because I really feel like people who want to be successful, especially as an entrepreneur, you have to have enough drive inside of you that, I mean, no one tells me to get up in the morning for work. Nobody tells me what appointments I have to book, where I have to be, and what time I have to be there. I do that on my own with my own willpower. And that starts in elementary school. That starts in middle school when you start falling in love with something. It doesn't necessarily have to be a sport. I mean, it could be robotics. It could be something.
The tricky part is doing it when you don't love it too.
Right.
Like maybe I don't like going to the gym, but I'm going to make it a priority. I don't really have time or feel like going to the doctor's appointment to follow up on my eyes and, you know, all these things, but I need to. So like there's that fine line of like, it brings me joy. I want to put effort into it, but there's also things you don't want to do. And that is the same thing that goes back to like, if you run to your kid's rescue every time, like protect them at all costs, obviously. Like safety is different than like coddling.
Yeah.
And there's so much coddling, like God forbid anybody fails, but you rob them of that chance to mess up. And they can't learn to be resilient when the entire walk of life is lined with safety nets. And you have to let them fall.
Well, we've talked about this before. You don't want your kids to obviously get hurt. I don't want my kids to fail at life, but I think that when you have failure, it makes you stronger. It makes you better. You know, my kids right now, in my mind, the perception that I have of their life, they have a really, really, really good life. I struggle with, am I giving them too good of a life? Because what if they have this lifestyle that I've provided for them and then they don't do anything with it when they're ready to be adults, right? That's my worst fear. Like, you can't live with me forever. I want you to take care of your children. I want you to bring something to your spouse. I talk about that a lot with Brayden. You know, what are you bringing to your spouse? What value are you bringing? Are you a great mechanic and very handy? Do you make good money where you financially support your family? Are you great with kids and helping around the house and grocery shopping and managing money? Like, you need to bring some kind of tool to a relationship. But that also goes right back to the trophy, you know, and the participation award, because if you feel like everything should always just be handed to you no matter what, any kind of effort, like, then of course you're going to have this sense of entitlement. I mean, I want to earn stuff, especially in the career that we're in. I want everybody to earn it with me, and I want to help other people, and I always want to be that hand that reaches out to bring people up with me. But I take great pride in, I earn everything I have. I go without sleep. I grind. I hustle. I work freaking 20 some days straight without a day off. There are times where I got to count the calendar and be like, I haven't had a day off in a while. I deserve this. But when I win those awards, they mean a lot to me. Accolades mean a lot to me. They really probably mean more to me than money. It's like this notch on a belt kind of thing for me. And I love that.
It's like a mark that you aim to hit.
It's a mark. And, you know, last year I was in the top 1,000 agents in Charleston out of 8,000. Close to 8,000. It's like a little seven and some change, something like that. And then this year I was top 500. And I've been in real estate for 3 years. That's mind blowing, right? That's a big
That definitely
thing.
made some people mad. I love it.
Oh, I don't even see. And that was just like me. I was just like, I was so excited for that. And like, that's a huge thing to do. And it's a huge thing for somebody like me from a family that I came from to be like that, right? Because I came from a family of, we don't have like a lot of the people that are really successful and stuff. So that was huge for us. But when you do receive something that's not a participation award, it feels so much better. And you have this, like, for me, I have this trigger in my brain. I'm like, what's next?
Yeah.
What's the next thing that I could reach that brings me up to that next level? If everything was handed to me, I wouldn't have any like respect for it, and I wouldn't understand it. I wouldn't understand the gravity of things.
It also forces you, whether it's yearly, weekly, monthly, whatever, every time you achieve that accolade, you reach that kind of peak, you then are forced to get out of your comfort zone to achieve the next thing.
Oh,
Sometimes you're pushed over that cliff to do it.
And sometimes I get out of that. I do purposely put myself in that like uncomfy situation just to like get it over with.
That's the best place to learn, though, is when you're uncomfortable.
Like remember when we went door knocking? I was like, so I was trying to give ideas for our team. Like, let's go door knocking. Maybe it will help, you know, if nothing else, we got exercise out of it, and we were working in our business in some way.
Yeah. Some of us got a sunburn, but whatever.
Yeah, right. Well, it was funny because I put that out there on the table, and I was like, "This is what we're going to do. This is the idea that I have."
You definitely don't lose anything from trying it. It's not going to hurt you in any way.
And I laughed because there were some that were like, "Not for me, not going to do it." And then there was some that were like, "Absolutely, I'm going to do it." And I laughed because the ones who said they were going to do it are already the higher producers on the team. Well, there's a reason for that. You were willing to do the uncomfy things.
Yeah.
And this is not me talking bad about my team, because if that's not for you, that's not for you.
Yeah.
But I also had to take that moment and that opportunity to say, I'm not going to ask you to do anything that I wouldn't do. So you want to know what? The person who produces the most out of everybody on the team, her ass was out there door knocking too. And I learned that really early on in life, especially when I got into like manager positions. When I was like when I worked at a casino, I was in a management position, and I knew then that if I wanted to earn people's respect, I had to do the shit that I didn't want to do, and get into the uncomfortable situations that I didn't want to be in, but I had to force myself to do it. And guess what? I got awards and I got accolades that I earned because I worked hard for them.
Yeah.
And they meant a lot to me. And that's something that no one can take from you. Nobody can take away your hard work. Nobody can take away that effort that you've put in. I know that in the depths of my soul. I say this all the time. There's one thing some people cannot take from me. That's how hard I work.
Yeah.
I know that about myself. That is the one thing I'm the most confident about. But it also feels really good when you know that you've earned something.
And it's nice when it's like accolades, because you're not like, that's not paying your bills, right? That doesn't require somebody else anything to kind of award you with that. But it's something nice that is appreciated and that shows that it's noticed, and that always goes great. But I think that true confidence comes from when you have the opportunity to earn something. That can be respect, that can be accolades, your self-esteem, and especially for these kids, that self-esteem is wrapped into that, and that is a huge building block to your lifetime success. And if we rob them the fundamental skill of problem solving, like what kind of adults are those?
Well, I love that you said problem solving, because that's my favorite thing to do. You got a problem? I want to solve it.
It's like a puzzle.
It really is.
I shouldn't have said that because I hate puzzles, but I thoroughly enjoy that.
I do like fixing things. It's my favorite. Like I love. I mean, that's probably why we do what we do, because we essentially have to like make all the moving pieces work. And
I thrive in crisis mode. That's
Same,
my jam.
same.
That's the lane I like to be in.
Yes. That's the manic part.
Lynn, there's a fire. I got you.
Yes,
That's my jam.
Let me put that sucker out.
But I think it's really cool. Like a lot of people, I was listening to another podcast today kind of talking about, like superlative awards for kids. And they were like, is that the new participation trophy? First off, I don't think so. I think that it's a really cool thing because it's not tied to your effort, right? You don't have to earn that award.
Did you see the one that Holland got?
Well, I was there.
Worst case of senioritis. She's going into 9th grade.
Yeah.
So it's because she hates school so much. So yeah, I love those because they're tailored to who they are.
Yeah, you don't have to, it's not tied to your effort. It's something that, like, that one's funny. Like, I got a silly one that was like, oh, most likely always have a coffee in their hand. Like, means nothing. Like, has no reflection of how hard I work or anything, But there are ones that are really good, especially when you focus back on, like, the kids and stuff. Like, most valuable player, biggest heart on the team, things like that. It's really important to acknowledge those unique skills that are maybe not, like, sports skills or certain things like that. So you can do that and allow those kids to feel that kind of unique connection that appreciates who they are and what they bring to the table without it being this, hey, you get a trophy even though you lost the game. Explain that to them. Why does that make sense?
Yeah, no.
That's not even...
Not a trophy. Like, why does that have to be a trophy?
Mm-hmm.
Why does it have to be a trophy? Can't it just be like, but you all get a popsicle afterwards?
Yeah.
Like,
what happened to the good old game snack?
Yes, it can just be a game snack. And have a good conversation of, if a trophy is really important to you and it's important to all of us, that's something that we work towards and look forward to getting. And the effort that you put in on the field is a reflection of that.
Absolutely.
I mean, sometimes it is skill. And it is athleticism.
Well, especially the older you get.
Yes.
Don't rob those people that have a certain magnitude of achievement, right?
Right.
If you go out there and you're like this God-given talent, why the hell would you get the same award as the guy that hasn't left the bench all season? Like, make it make sense.
I mean, as somebody who would work really hard towards something like that, it would kind of piss me off. If I put in,
why'd I try?
100 and some hours and you've put in 3 and we're getting the same award, what's the purpose?
But I think whether it's your kids, it's the people on your team, it's your friends, it's your loved ones, I think that failure is essential in becoming who you are, helping you achieve the things you set out to achieve, your success in general. Maybe you didn't get Agent of the Month. Maybe you didn't win. Maybe you didn't win top 500, whatever it may be, right? Like, now you have something more to work towards. So maybe you didn't win that thing. Maybe you didn't win that golden medal or that golden trophy, but maybe you superseded your expectations for something you've ever done.
Well, let me be clear though. Agent of the Month doesn't bother me because they do that a lot. And sometimes it is like a participation award kind of thing. But typically he tries to do really good about like when he's picking it out. Like, it doesn't have to be off of
sales.
It can be off of like you're just like a genuine like good person and an agent and you've put in a lot of effort, because now I don't feel like that's a participation award. There's a reason for that, right?
Yeah, there's always something behind
Top Dog Award though. I haven't even really cared of whether I got it, and half the time I don't even know when like our whole team gets it. I don't even know about it. Courtney's ass has made me like want it now.
Yeah, we log in just to make sure we see our name. Like,
I never cared about it.
Yeah.
Until Courtney was like, what's this? And I'm like, what? And she's like, how we do that more? And I'm like, I don't know. But now it's become a thing. She's made me aware of it. Before I was just like,
I love it though. That's something that fuels her fire. And for her, could you imagine like working your ass off, right? And let's say you don't get it, and somebody gets it that is well beyond what you've done to achieve it. You're obviously going to be irritated, but maybe you're very close. Maybe you're neck and neck and that other person gets it. Like, I'm disappointed, but they definitely earned it. But the other side of that coin is I blew my sails out of the water personally trying to hit that goal.
Yeah.
So reframe what that failure is and what failure means. And yes, you fell short of that award, but
I never felt like it until she brought it to my attention. Damn it.
in a different way.
And once she like really zeroed me in on it, I was like, what? Now I care.
Yeah, now it's like a must.
Yeah, now it's a must.
Well, like you said, you're like, we've gotten it. We can't lose it.
Right.
We can't not have it now.
I know.
Can't fall off the pedestal.
Who has the dog right now?
I think it's us right now. We've lost one since another really
I'm
high
gonna have to ask
producing
Chip,
team came
who
over.
has the
but
dog
I think
right
we're
now?
back on top. But yeah. It goes back to that old thing. You ever hear somebody say, it's usually like a mean old dad, like, if everyone's special, no one is. Oh
my God. Gosh,
And
yes.
First off,
But I also think that like giving awards to personal traits and personality traits and things like that, that is fine.
listen, maybe if you're in kindergarten, if you're like first grade, kindergarten, if it's your first time ever doing a team thing, cool. Get everybody a medal.
Right.
Everybody came out here and did their best. Even the
Right.
kid that was building sandcastles in right field. Like, whatever it may be. But as you get old enough to grasp the concept of hard work pays off and respect and sportsmanship and all those things,
That's
that
one
needs
thing
to
I
dissipate.
like about like wrestling. We can have tiers, right? We can have a first place. We can have a second place. But then that old man saying like, if you ain't first, you're last.
Yeah.
Wait, is that Ricky Bobby?
It is Ricky Bobby.
Oh my God. Do I get movie quotes too for drinks?
Feels right.
Feels right. Shake and bake, baby.
Ugh. That's like you mentioned, like, I can't with you. You had mentioned like wrestling, like the kids wrestle, and KJ is freakishly good at wrestling. Like,
He
state
really
champ,
is.
like great at wrestling. It's we struggle. Eric and I struggle with like when you, how do I say this not sound like a jerk? When you're a good parent, right? And you know that you have a standard for your kids and an expectation of how to act, how to behave, be respectful, be a good sport. Like, you can knock them on your ass. That's part of the game, but you're going to help them up. Like,
Right.
That's how we raise our kids. And we kind of always, you'll see that kid that has like a full on fit, just tantrum for the most ridiculous reason. You're just kind of like exchange a look like, oh, thank God it's not our children. Thank God we did better than that. And then one day, sure enough, they like to just bring you right back down to earth. And like, you were like, oh, the tears are okay. If you lose and you're upset that you lost, I'm here for it. I'm okay. You're allowed to be emotional and passionate.
Right.
You still help that kid up. You still shake hands. You go say thanks to the coach. You know, whatever the thing is. Well, sure enough, there we were judging everybody. And here comes KJ. Throwing his headgear. He's a cheater. He should be disqualified. Kindergarten, mind you.
Right.
This little spitfire of just raw emotion. And we were so embarrassed. I mean, just dying inside. We were like, knock it off. Knock it off. We'll talk in the hallway. Knock it off. Shh, be quiet. We were like, stop it.
Not another word.
And I was like, I mean, we've never like, and to each their own, but we've never like hit our kids. It's just not something we do. We've never, I guess, had anything come up that serious where we felt like it was needed for us.
Right.
So I'm like talking to KJ, you know, and we were very caught off guard because he doesn't behave like that.
Right.
So we both kind of like were at a loss for like, how the hell do we parent this right now? And there are all these like literally a stadium of eyes watching you fail as a parent in this moment. And Eric's like, get in the hallway. And I'm like, I could tell Eric wanted to spank the crap out of him. And I was like, I got it. I just got him calmed down because like Eric had, you know, go finish up the match stuff. And he came over and I was like, I just got him calm. He apologized to Coach Kenny. He apologized to the kid. Like we're working through it. And he was like, no, we're going to go talk. And I've had to like, he literally had Eric's arm or KJ's arm. And I looked at Eric and I was like, if you take him in the hallway, I will take your ass to the parking lot.
Oh.
Like, do not come for my baby and for all these people because I'll embarrass all y'all.
Right,
like,
right.
But I was just like, we literally had to like have a talk after that and sit down and be like, that was fun. Like, how the hell do we navigate that? Like this big behavior and this big thing. But, you know, he came in kindergarten, never wrestling. And at practice, they do this, I'm going to probably call it the wrong thing, get yelled at, but like King in the Hill, you know?
Yeah.
You just keep wrestling somebody until you lose. My little kindergartner will go against middle schoolers and hang in, like, and he'll
Right.
lose at the end. So he's hitting this wall where he's been this hyper successful kid at this thing, and he lost. It was the first time he got his ass handed to him. I mean, that kid rocked him. He picked him up and threw him to the point that I was like, I'm gonna beat your mama. Let's go. Sometimes it's hard to watch, but that was his first like taste of it not going his way.
Yeah.
And he was just like, he could not fathom that he lost.
And I can tell you this, I've been knocked down many times and been beat up a little bit and feeling a little bit in my feelings and wondering why that other person was more successful or had more things or whatever. Now I don't think like that because I've done so much like training on my mind, but it can be daunting. And especially at that age, you wonder what everybody else thinks. Am I make my parents happy? Have I disappointed them? The thought of disappointing other people is literally what would keep me awake. And even when I played sports, I played basketball. I love basketball, but I quit playing basketball because people stopped showing up for it. And that was the life that I lived in because my childhood was different, you know? When people don't come and watch you and cheer for you and don't believe in you or have other things going on, you stop caring so much about those big moments in life. So one thing that I will say is like my husband's always been my biggest cheerleader. My uncle Nino, he's always been my biggest cheerleader, and they make me want to be a better person. My kids,
they're both now my biggest cheerleader by proxy, and I'm here for it.
They really
They're
are
adorable.
too. And you know, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, they've always been just like, we're so proud of you, and oh my gosh, you got this award, or wow, you sold that many houses, and oh my gosh, you added to your team, you have this big ass team, you know, and like they've made me be like, yeah, I want it even more, right? And so a lot of my stuff is based off of pleasing other people.
Yeah. That's how a lot of it starts. I mean, that's a natural starting point for that. And I think you've made such, even the little bit of time that I've known you and you've been in my life, I feel like you've made such a leaps and bounds, and it's great. And I love the adoration and the respect and all those things that come from that when people are happy to see me succeed. But at the same time, if I'm hitting the goals that I set for myself and my family, I'm also fine if you're not cheering me on.
Right.
And that's such a big lesson to learn.
It really is, because although I care about those things I do, the validation that I used to seek from, especially like my parents and stuff like that, it's no longer there. I don't really care about that anymore.
It's like a nice side perk.
It's a nice side perk. Yeah, for sure. I think just like the validation was a huge thing for me from, being younger and stuff. And now that I've really came over that, it is a great perk to have like family proud of you and stuff, but it's not necessarily like something that I need anymore.
It's not what really like fuels that.
No.
But I think I always laugh at my kids. Like, we do the allowance money, we do things like that. And they'll be like, oh, my room's clean. How much money do I get for that? I'm like, 0.
You don't get shit for cleaning your room.
No, that's like, what? I behaved at the store. Can I get a toy? I'm sorry. That's the bare minimum. It's the standard that you behave at the store.
I used to tell my kids that all the time. There are like 3 things that the law says I need to do for you. Feed you, clothe you, and put a roof over your head. Doesn't say what kind of food you got to eat, what kind of clothes you got to wear, and where you got to live at.
Oh, I used to try to tell my dad, I'd be like, I'll call DSS, and he'd be like, I'll dial for you.
Yeah.
I don't care if the president knocks on the door and says you need to have your phone back because you pay for it. I don't give a shit.
Right.
I'll snap it in half right now.
Furthermore, if you live in my home, I don't care if you paid for your car. If I tell you if I can get in your car, I'm getting your car.
Yeah.
Like, no. You are living in my house.
Yeah.
Now, I've never had to do that with Braden at all. I'm quite sure I'm going to have to do it with Holland, but she definitely will give me
that second born shit right there.
Yeah, you damn right. It really is.
But yeah, there's no awards for bare minimum. There's an expectation. The expectation is you keep your room clean. You respect yourself enough to keep your area clean and respect this house that I pay for to keep it neat. The expectation is you behave at the store. Maybe if we're going to the store and you've got an honor roll or you aced that test you were really worried about, I'm going to go ahead and get you something. We're going to go Starbucks, whatever it is.
Right.
But because you sat in the cart and didn't act like a damn fool, you expect me to spend some money. It's not happening.
Well, and I also feel like moral of the story is kind of, to translate this into business and into the adult life is buck the fuck up.
There are winners and losers in real life. There are times where you will not get picked in real life.
100%. I don't get picked in real life. People don't call me for dinner all the time. People don't want to hang out with me all the time. I don't care. Thank the Lord. But I do care. Let's be honest. I'm grateful and I love spending time with people and I absolutely love our crew. But sometimes I'm just like, I'm okay with that. Like, I was totally okay with just not coming out of my pajamas that day.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody like that is fine.
Relieved you're not in the position to be like, oh, thank God I didn't have to tell them no. Because, like, I would have enjoyed it and I would have hurt their feelings. But, like, I just needed to do nothing. Like, I needed nothing.
And you know what? I tell you no all the time and I don't feel bad about it. And you tell me no and I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
But we're usually like, I need a mental break. Yeah. Not from each other, just from life. But
we're usually really good about, like, I'm not going to try to bully you into it either. Like,
I will sometimes with you.
You do sometimes. Yeah, but that's more like if we had a plan and then I don't want to go.
Yeah.
But like if you're just initially like, hey, I'm going to do this thing. And I'm like, it's no for me. You're just like, okay.
Yeah.
Like there's not really like a fight about it.
No, definitely not.
But you have to let go of the reins. You can't just keep these kids on these little leash because then they turn into adults that are not coachable. They are not willing to participate in a way that makes sense for themselves, their family, their success, their career. But you have to have real life expectations for these kids. If their classmate is someone like it's different if your kid's in danger and it's bullying. If your classmate's someone that's just doing like they're irritating me, they call me a poo-poo head, whatever it may be, like if you don't let them work that shit on their own, if you're like in the principal's office, you are setting them up to fail. Because there are going to be managers and coworkers and friends and in-laws and people that you don't like.
Have you ever had especially you coming from a school where the parent blames the teacher and the staff constantly for their butthole of a kid?
Every day.
Every day.
All day.
So I really have always tried to not do that. Now, I will ride for my kid.
Oh, yeah.
100%. But we're all going to get in the same room together, and we're all going to discuss this. You're not going to tell me.
We're all putting all the cards on the table.
We're all putting all the cards on the table. You're not going to tell me that your teacher did this, this, and this, and this is why, right? No. Because then when I ask the teacher, and the teacher tells me, no, this, and this, that, I will not allow disrespect towards another adult. But I also won't let an adult make my kid feel less than.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for the behavior? What is it? Let's find out. Like I came all the way down to one. They had this thing called team time that they allowed kids to go to, which I think is a breeding ground for drama because like in 8th grade and 7th grade, why do you need to go out for recess?
No, it's
a breeding ground for drama, right? And the
news.
reason that the drama starts out there is because parents teachers, faculty, all of us, we haven't really taught these kids how to coexist with each other.
Because they were too busy getting participation trophies.
That's true. You're right. You're right. But I really took it great pride in knowing that I was not going to be that parent. I was going to have the teacher's back. I was going to call her out on her shit. I didn't really ever have to do that with Brayden, but I'll call her out on her shit and tell her, no, this is not how we act. This is not how we behave. And when you get the below a C, she has to have a C or above average. When you get below a C, these are the consequences that will happen. And all of us are on board with it.
Yeah.
But with that being said, if you guys don't follow through with it, or you allow her to go to team time, or you lose a paper, or you're not willing to give her her extras that she needs because she has an IEP, now we have a problem.
Yeah.
Now we have a problem. I will come and sit in this classroom and make her act right, but you have to be willing. And of course, half the time they're like, nah, because you don't want me in your classroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that kid on YouTube? If you want us to learn, you got to touch a kid's freaking heart. Like you're trying to he's like trying to give them like, and the teacher was doing the bare minimum. And I'm not going to do that. But I also do believe that there's too many parents and too many, not just parents, bosses and everybody like that will put up with the bare minimum and let them slide.
That's the quickest way to lose good employees is by rewarding bad employees for bad behavior.
Oh, 100%.
Quickest
Preach
way.
it.
'Cause
Freaking
if I
preach
watch
it.
it for months, why the hell am I going to feel like I should continue on this path that I'm on where I'm this overachieving,
Yeah.
extra time, all these things, when like I'm over here vying for not attention, but like, hey, I've earned this. I'll take that on. Oh, actually, I'm going to give it to so-and-so. Okay, so weird choice, but all right. Like, if you think that your people don't notice when you're rewarding bad behavior, you're not paying attention.
Oh, yeah. And I
If
also
they're not saying
think
to you, they say it in a break room.
they are saying it in a break room. And I also think that like even in other businesses where like, let's say you have 5 or 6 employees and you're paying 3 or 4 of them who do bare minimum work, and then you have 2 that are just doing like they're outperforming. And if I could just have 2 more of them, my business would be even more successful, right? So my way of thinking on that is cut the dead weight, hire 1 more of them, pay them more money, pay all them more money, and they will produce way more. That's like sending people home during COVID, right?
Yeah.
They sent people home and the production went higher because they were happier. They were in their element.
They weren't being micromanaged.
They weren't being micromanaged. And they didn't have the overhead. They didn't have the coffee that they needed to keep in the break room, the straws, the ink, like all this extra stuff that people were using, the lights, the rent for the companies. Like you can cut cost and still make people feel valued and probably produce more money.
And if you have an office full of people that are like-minded and they're success and goal-driven, and they see the people around them that are also at the table are on that mindset, they're not stopping to nitpick like, so-and-so's late again, or like, oh, that's favoritism, because they've got their head down and they're all on the same path. And if you're surrounded by people like that, you're not going to have those outliers of like, that person doesn't deserve that, but they keep getting it. Let me find out why.
Well, one of our friends that owns a company, they like to reward their like they'll have like a company picnic and stuff, and one of the things that they do to reward them is like, we're giving you 2 days extra vacation this year. Like, not, you don't get it every year, but we thought it was like something, and we could have gave you $100, but we figured you'd rather have a paid day off.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to add this to this. And I think that is so cool. I love it when companies will give like gift cards and stuff just because.
Yeah.
It's a $25 gift card or $50 gift card, whatever it is. It's just because I see the things that you're doing. Those things will go a very long way.
Yeah.
But you want to cut someone off at the knees and make them feel less than, especially maybe your hardest worker, rewarding people who don't do shit.
I don't understand. There's so much, it's like rampant in corporate America to do these things where like you have these top producing people that like live and breathe and bleed for that company or that name or whatever it may be. And then it's just like, they're the first people you throw under the bus.
Speak it.
I don't understand.
Speak it.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
Or
Or
you
like
go to battle for that person that maybe you should have cut loose a year ago.
Yeah.
But like your top
Or
producer,
you
you're like, I'm willing to
nourish-
sacrifice them.
You nourish a relationship with somebody who doesn't have loyalty to you, is complete crap to you, would not much of a producer, isn't putting in the work. You'll nourish that relationship and take care of them, but you won't take care of the one that is, doing the things that they need to be doing and then some, and then putting in effort and then helping the next person and people that they don't need to help and just going that above and beyond for them, right? There is a little bit, I probably got a little chip on my shoulder about it, right? I've seen it time and time and time again where the person and the people who you think or that are helping your company, they're valued the least amount, right? They are just kind of, I think from an outsider looking in, maybe you're just like, well, they're good.
Yeah, they don't need mine.
They don't need it.
Yeah.
They're good, and I think that's quite the
That's
opposite.
not a way to lead.
I think it's quite the opposite. You have to make people feel valued in order to stay where they're going to stay.
Well,
and if
it's
they
like
don't,
when
they'll go
you-
somewhere else and they'll get paid more
And be appreciated.
and be
get days off.
appreciated. It's just the way it is.
Well, did you ever see those like let's say like a phone company or something, right? You've been with the phone company for 10 years and then there's like a commercial. It's like, if you join, you get XYZ. And it's like this amazing, you're like, well, I've had this phone for 10 years. I've been a
it
loyal
pisses
customer
me
for
off.
10 years. I
Yes.
don't get that shit. Like, where is that respect? And like, that's just that rabbit hole and that hamster in the wheel of all of the things of you're not putting your efforts in the right place. And if you continue to just hand out participation trophies, your best people will stop participating. And that's a wrap. If you like what you heard, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe. And as always, you can listen on Apple, Spotify, and more. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube for video podcast. We'll see you next week.